Her, Assistant Professor, Triple Department, ISN Engineering College. I am dealing with the subject utilization of electrical energy, and today's topic is about electric traction system. So let us begin the topic. So before beginning the topic, we did discuss about the contents in this topic. Now we will have an introduction first. Next, why electric traction system, a type of electric traction system, type of track electrification, as well as single catenary construction and system of track electrification. So it is important to know about system of track electrification also, and also the know the major components and also the components of an AC locomotive should be understood first. So let us see one by one. Now this introduction, the process of moving any vehicle is called traction. If the electric energy is used in this process is called electric traction. So classifying broadly into the groups, they are non-electric traction system or mechanical traction system and electric traction system. So let us now study about the non-electric traction system. What is this non-electric traction system? Traction system do not involve the use of electricity such as steam engine drive, IC engine drive, etc., which do not have the electricity as their input. Now electric traction system. What about the electric traction system? It is opposite of the non-electric traction system. A system which use electrical power for traction system, that is for railways, trams or tram cars, etc., is called as electric traction. Why electric traction system? So we should have some advantages as well as disadvantages to know about a thing. So we will have this discussion now. Why electric traction system is used? The first thing is cheapness, it is cleanliness, its maintenance cost, and starting time and speed, as well as high starting torque, as well as braking, as well as saving in high grade coal energy source. So all these things which are listed in the left side are the main things that are to be discussed. According to cheapness, so low operation cost. Now cleanliness, smoke and gas free. Maintenance cost 50% less than other steam. And starting time and speed, without the loss of any time it starts and stops. And also it attains the speed at very high level. And high starting torque. Use of DC and AC series motor, very high starting torque is used. Now we talk about the braking. So braking is also regenerative braking is used where we do not involve any of the electricity again to be used. Regenerative means whatever the energy is fed back, that is used for the braking purposes, unlike the mechanical braking. Saving in high grade coal energy source. Actually, the coal is a used energy for steam engines. So we are here in the electric traction system. We are saving the high grade energy source, that is coal. And also we are having this non-renewable sources, that is saving of coal or any other things that are used here are saved for the future purposes. Now you will see type of electric traction systems. What is a type of electric traction system? A DC traction, a AC traction, and multi systems. So we will study about DC traction as well as AC traction and multi systems. Before going to that, we should know that electric traction system is nothing but a DC traction, AC traction, and multi systems is called as the electric traction system. Now we'll talk about a DC traction. What is a DC traction? A DC traction is used to direct current drawn from conductor rail or overhead lines. The most popular line voltage for overhead wire supply systems, that is 15 kilovolt DC and 30 kilovolts DC. So we have seen here that DC traction units use direct current drawn from the conductor rails or an overhead lines. So most popular line voltage for overhead wire supply is 15 kilovolt DC and 30 kilovolts DC. Now we will see that 600 volt, 750 volt DC volt range is used for third rail systems. That is, additional rail is provided for supplying electricity to train and is called as conductor rail. So you can understand here by seeing these disadvantages and advantages here. The disadvantage of this system is expensive substations are required at frequent intervals. The overhead wire or third rail must be relatively large and heavy. The voltage goes on decreasing with the increase in the length here. So we can see that pantograph as well as motor control and overhead wire here, that the overhead wire is there and the pantograph is there, and therefore the train at the top of the train, this it is attached here and the motor control is done. So we will see here the simple thing is shown here on the side of this slide. And next is AC traction. The AC traction units draw alternating current from an overhead line. So every train or a traction is drawing the current from the overhead line, and this typical voltages are 25 kilovolts AC and 50 hertz, as well as 25 kilovolts AC and 60 hertz, where the frequency is being changed. Advantages: now fewer substations are required for this, as well as lighting overhead current supply wire can be used, and as well as reduced capital cost of electrification, the reduced weight of support structure. If you see here, these electric systems are having here AC, this is overhead wire, and you are having a rectifier here, a transformer, and a motor control. These all together are making the electric system that is called as AC traction system. The AC traction system, AC traction units draw alternating current from an overhead line, and a typical voltage used is 25 kilovolts AC and 50 hertz, as well as we can use 25 kilovolts AC and 60 hertz also. So coming to the advantages here, as you have seen this electric system of AC, it will having overhead wire, as well as the pantograph here connected to a transformer, and transformer is connected to rectifier, and rectifier is connected to a motor control, and therefore the wheels are being controlled to the given control to the motor here. So advantages, the main advantages here are fewer substations are required for this, as well as lighting overhead current supply wire can be used, and also reduce capital cost of electrification, and reduce weight of support structure. These are the advantages of the AC traction. Multi-systems. What is a multi-system? A multi-system trains are used to provide continuous journeys along routes that are electrified using more than one system. One way to accomplish this is by changing the locomotives at the switching stations. These stations have overhead wires that can be switched from one voltage to another. Another way is used to multi-system locomotives that can operate under several different voltages and current types. So the name itself is there, multi-system means it can operate for different voltages, and the overhead wire can be switched from one voltage to another by this particular multi-systems. Okay. Next, system of track electrification. Trolley wire or contact wire suspended with a sag so that contact between trolley wire and current collector can be maintained at the high speeds. So what is this system of track electrification? A trolley wire or a contact wire is suspended with a sag so that contact between the trolley wire and current collector can be maintained at high speeds. So for electrification purpose, we should have the connection between the trolley as well as the current collector, as well as the that wire that is being giving the power. This wire is supported by another wire known as catenary. The catenary is nothing but it is the thing that is supporting the wire which is used for electrification. Now two different type of catenary constructions can be used, that is single catenary construction and compound catenary construction. Type of electrification: single catenary and compound catenary construction. For here we will see that provided for a speed up to 120 km per hour is called as the single catenary, and provided for speeds range 190 to 224 km per hour is compound catenary. Now span of catenary wire for a single catenary is 45 to 90 meters, and additional wire called intermediate wire is used to increase the current carrying capacity to have increased traffic density here in the compound catenary construction. Whereas single catenary is very cheaper, less maintenance, as well as suitable where traffic is in danger and more and operating speeds are low. So this is what we are discuss about the single catenary and compound catenary system, where the simple catenary system is more suitable where traffic is danger and more, and the operating speeds are very low. And we will see now single catenary construction. So if you see the single catenary construction, you will be seeing the rails here. These are the rails, and you will be seeing these are the insulators and the poles here. These are nothing but the uh, poles, and these are the catenary wire. This is a dropper, as well as this is the contact wire, and this is parallel return wire here. These are the insulators provided, and these are the booster transformers provided, where this particular thing here, the current is being carried by the wire is being supplied to the rail, or by this particular rail, and the train is being moving here, it will be taking power from the this particular wire system. Okay, it's called a single catenary system or single catenary construction. Here you can see a picture of this. A picture here is the types of current collector. This is a bow collector and this is a pantograph collector. A bow collector is one of the three main devices used on tram cars to transfer electric current from the wire above the tram below. It has now largely replaced through a pantograph. Earlier it was a bow collector, now it is a pantograph collector. Main function is to maintain the link between overhead contact wire and power circuit of the locomotive. There are two things here. One is the wire that is carrying the current on the overhead, and also the between there is some contact, that is pantograph collector, and below the pantograph collector there is a train here. The train locomotive or this locomotive has some power circuit. That power circuit receives the power from this particular overhead line through a pantograph, and this locomotive has varying speeds in different climate and wind conditions also. So we will talk about the major components now: traction substation, overhead wiring, current collector, track, and a traction system. These are the major components which are used in the traction substation. One is the traction substation, where you have these particular trains moving there, and overhead wiring. It is also necessary because the power should be continuously supplied to the train. And also the current collector. This current collector will be collecting the current, and also it should be a track, and the vehicle should be there. A vehicle, a overhead wiring, a current collector, and track should be there. That are the components very much necessary. So we can see here, this is overhead line. As you can see in this figure, this is a catenary. This is a line here. This is a single catenary, and this is a current collector where you are collecting the current, and from here we are going to the this particular power circuit of the locomotive here. This power circuit will be giving the different current ranges to the different components here. For different electrification purposes, we are using this particular thing. And this is electric substation which provides the power to the overhead transmission line here. Without substation we cannot provide the power, so electric substation is also required. Electric substation gives the power to the overhead line, and from the overhead line you will be having this catenary current collector, as well as you can be having this track. This speed control system will be there, electric traction motor will be there, and electric current flow will also be there, where this the main source of power is electric substation, from where the power is being transmitted to the overhead line, and from the overhead line it is being given to the this particular train, or you can say it is a traction system or vehicle, traction vehicle also we can say here. So now you will be understanding, students, here how this particular thing is happening. From the overhead lines to the pantograph, we are receiving the power here, and the power is going to the power circuit of the locomotive here, and from the locomotive it is sending to the various parts of this particular traction system. And therefore when the motor starts rotating, the wheels also starts to rotate, and therefore we will be having a this movement of this particular traction vehicle. And we have already seen that this electric traction system has a regenerative braking also. So this is a colorful diagram of components of an AC locomotive. Now you can see here, these are the components of AC locomotive. The block diagram of modern AC electric locomotive is shown very clearly here. As you can observe that we are having here the motor blowers here, and the main parts, we will come from the main part here. There's a main transformer here, and here is the this what circuit pantograph. From here we are starting the supply pantograph. From pantograph we are going to the this particular power circuit of the locomotive, and from this you are having, if you observe, here is a pantograph in orange color, and from that you will be shown the power circuit is being shown here, which is consisting of this particular main transformer, this axial brush, the main inverter, the DC link, as well as you are having auxiliary inverter here. These are three-phase AC motors and auxiliary rectifiers, and three-phase AC motors are also there, as well as some motor blowers and battery, compressor, cooling fans, as well as circuit breaker. So all these are the components of this particular components of the AC locomotive, where you will be having these things for the maintenance of the smooth this running of this AC electric locomotive. So the from the receiving the power is from the main, from the transmission line or overhead line to this pantograph, and giving the supply to this particular thing. And this operates by giving the supply to the motor, proper supply to the motor, and the DC link voltage is also maintained constant here. This constant voltage is maintained in the DC link, so that there will be some smooth operation of this particular AC locomotive. Now we will see about the parts of electric locomotive. What are these parts of electric locomotive? First we will talk about the transformer. The line voltage has to be stepped down before use on the train. Now we will see that the transformer voltage to be stepped down. How? The traction transformer for trains and railway stock transform the overhead contact line voltage, which ranges from 15 kilovolts or 25 kilovolts to voltage of 0.7 kilovolts and 1.5 kilovolts also. Now it is stepped down 0.7 kilovolts and 1.5 kilovolts. Normally, transformer use a rating of 5600 kVA to 7200 kVA. This is a very important point that is to be remembered. What is the rating of the transformer that is used here is 5600 to 7200 kVA for AC locomotives. Now talking about the rectifier, as you have seen in the diagram, we are having rectifiers, we are having transformers. So we will talk one by one and talk about the use of these particular components in that. A rectifier consists of thyristors and diodes, which is used to convert AC to DC. Instead of conventional bridge rectifier, thyristors are used because thyristors are having good properties, and they are using less currents. And also the modern locomotive usually have at least two main rectifiers. So rectifiers are very important components, and this will be rectifying the voltage and giving the VDC is equals to 0.9 voltage of RMS. So this is also a very main component, and electric locomotive should have main rectifiers as two in number. The inverter. So the photograph of the inverter is shown here. The inverters are used for converting DC power to AC, that is it is into AC output voltage of variable frequency and fixed or variable output AC voltage. So we can have a variable voltage or fixed voltage, but DC to AC is being converted by an inverter. What is a DC link? So we have seen the in the picture about the DC link there. What is a DC link means? In this the modern electronic power systems between single phase and three phase inverter, it is easier to convert the single phase AC from the overhead line to three phase required from the motors by rectifying it into DC and inverting into DC to three phase AC. So here you can see the system, the pantograph is there. From the pantograph you are having a circuit breaker, a transformer, a tap changer. A tap changer is given to AC to DC, and therefore you are giving to the DC motors that are present in the particular locomotive, where some operations are carried out by the DC motors. So to convert even the DC to AC, some inverters are also being used in that particular system, and this DC link is nothing but it is the voltage that is to be maintained constant, so that we can for conversion of this powers easier to convert the single phase AC to three phase required from motors by rectifying it to DC and then inverting it to DC to three phase AC. So we cannot directly do that. So what we are doing, we are converting AC to DC and DC to again three phase AC here. So that is called a DC link here. Okay. Now train lighting air conditioning system. Now axial driven generators are used to store batteries that power light, fans, electric fittings are being handled by this. Now for powering air conditioning equipment, an inverter was used to convert DC output of set of batteries to 415 volts AC. So some inverters are also being used for air conditioning, and these are done by the same electrification purpose only by the use of this power tonic device rectifier and inverters. See how we are utilizing this power in whatever way we are using it. We require DC power, we are converting AC to DC, and required from DC to AC for inverter purpose also we are doing that with the help of these particular power electronic devices. Now, these older coaches are used bank of 24 batteries while 110 volts in newer coaches, so that these batteries are being used for these inverting purposes. In May, air conditioning coaches, a mid-on generator is used. Now, DC series motor. What is DC series motor? Now, a DC series motor, we know that it is having a high torque at low speeds and low torque at high speeds. So, exact requirement for the traction units. It is an exact requirement for traction units. Now, torque is independent of line voltage and thus unaffected by the variations in the line voltage. So, if you see this particular thing, there is a field winding with thicker diameter and a fewer turns here, and you can see that armature is there. The series motor with the less number of field windings, and TG is equals to PZ phi IA by 2 pi into A, where P is the number of poles, phi is flux per pole, and Z is number of conductors, and A is the number of parallel paths. So these are the characteristics of the DC series motor. We have seen the DC series motor requirements here. So these series motor have the characteristics like this. When the torque and the armature this taken, torque versus this armature current and armature current versus the speed, and this particular torque versus the speed, the curves are shown like this. So these are the curve, and this is one curve where you can have this armature current as well as speed. So it is a parabola like structure, and here also it is a parabola like structure, where a DC series motor is suitable for the traction. By seeing these characteristics, we can observe that it is very much suitable for the electric traction system. So as we know, this is the circuit for the motor of a DC series motor. You are having the field winding, where the field winding has only fewer number of turns, and we are having the armature here. This armature is nothing but the motor only, where A1 and A2 are the terminals. This is a battery, and we are giving the field excitation, and then the field excitation is works on the armature, and therefore the armature starts rotating. This is the particular thing where the torque is also produced, and this torque and speeds are controlled with the help of this particular field winding. When the flux is being reduced or increased, depending on that, the torque also changes as well as the current also changes. Now, when we see about the single phase AC series motor, a starting torque is lower than the DC series motor because poor power factor at starting. When we talk about the single phase AC series motor, a starting torque is lower than the DC series motor due to poor power factor at the starting time. Now the maximum operating voltage is limited to 400 volts. So in the AC series motor, if you understand this point, why the maximum operating voltage is limited to 400 volts, because by calculations we can find out this particular voltage, that is how it is limited to 400 volts. Now we will see how to find out the torque. Now if you see this diagram, you are having a field winding, you are having a concepting winding, and here this is the winding which is connected to a this armature, as well as you can see the graph of AC series motor and normal DC series motor. Those are having both the same graph almost, but this AC series motor is having the before the DC series motor, the graph is there. And now for form how to find out the torque is, it is nothing but power by omega, or power by speed also we can say. P is equals to T into omega is the formula actually. Now if you want the torque, you can find torque is equals to P mechanical, that is mechanical power by this motor speed. We are calculating this motor of speed omega m, that is EBAC into IA is the power. Why? Because EBAC is nothing but the particular voltage, and well as IA is nothing but the current here. And this omega n is equals to 2 pi n. We can tell 2 pi n or 2 pi by t also we can say. Why? Because here 2 pi NAC is the speed of the motor, and IA is the armature current, as well as this EAC is the EMF of the AC motor. EMF of the AC motor here is EAC, as well as IA is the armature current, and NAC is the speed of the motor. Now we will talk about the three-phase induction motor here. If you talk about three-phase induction motors, these induction motors are very much helpful here. By seeing their properties, we can tell it provides a constant speed operation, developing low starting torque, drawing high starting current, and complicated control networks makes it unstable for electric traction work. So we have seen that how it is useful or not useful. Actually, the induction motors can be useful only, but due to its complicated control and high starting current required, it develops some more complications to develop to install very much other devices, extra devices. So in that sense, what we are doing is we are not using these three-phase induction motors, or we are using very less because we are unstable for the electric traction work. Whereas the series motor is very nice for the traction work. And automatic regeneration is the main advantage in electric traction with the motor. So if this automatic regeneration is main advantage in electric traction of the motor. Here in the three-phase induction motor, the torque is equal to 3 by 2 pi ns into S into E2 square R2 divided by R2 square plus SX2 whole square. The torque equation already learned in the induction motor study, and therefore E2 is the rotor EMF and R2 is the rotor resistance. And X2 is the rotor inductor reactance, and S is equal to slip of the induction motor. And these are the characteristics of this particular induction motor where you are having this slip as well as this torques. Now talking about the electric braking, what we can say that this is the process of reducing the speed of any rotating machine. So anything that is running, if you are applying brake, it comes to a rest. So the electric braking is also a type of thing only. And we are talking about this categories of the electric braking, and there are three categories. The number one category is plugging, number two is rheostatic braking, as well as regenerative braking. Now we'll call upon the plugging. What is plugging? Plugging is applied by changing phase sequence of synchronous or induction motors. So we will have naturally a phase sequence of our synchronous machine or induction machine. The main advantage of this method is that here the power is okay. So plugging is applied by changing the phase sequence. So disadvantage nothing but here the power is wasted. But the phase sequence can be changed, and therefore the phase sequence changes, the motor comes to a rest position. So this advantage is only because we can change the phase sequence. That is, you're having a phase sequence like in a three phase, you are having a phase sequence. If you change the phase sequence, what happens is the motor will start to rotate slowly and comes to a rest. And whereas this is a disadvantage because the here power is wasted in this phase sequence shifting, or we can call changing of the phase sequence also. So plugging is treated as a disadvantage method for the because the power is wasted here. Next is rheostatic braking. If you see the diagram here, the motor is there and the load resistance is there, as well as supply is also shown here in this particular thing, where the connections are made change from power configuration to brake configuration, and resistors are inserted in the motor here. So what happens here is this particular circuit, if you are observing here, this particular thing is being detached and the resistor is being connected here, so that the energy is not wasted, as well as the particular thing, the rheostat is being there for providing less energy to the this particular motor, and therefore if you provide less energy or less current to the motor, automatically the motor stops. So this is called as rheostatic braking. This is the formula, or this is the simple type of understanding that whenever you are applying resistance to a current, then automatically the motor will slow down. The same processing being used here, where there are two configurations, and one configuration is with motor, other configuration is with resistor. In while applying rheostatic braking, what we are doing is we are configuration to the brake power configuration to brake configuration. The change of power configuration to brake configuration is done, and therefore all the energy or the current dissipates in the resistor, and therefore you will be having a rheostatic braking. Now the regenerative braking. What is the regenerative braking? The motors become generators and the feed resulting current back into supply system. The name itself, it is the regenerative braking, where the motor can become a generator. How it becomes means we have studied in the induction motor, as well as we have seen how the supply is being reversed, and therefore how the motor becomes a generator in the earlier classes. So that same concept here being applied here, and the motor becomes generator here, where the this motor will supply the power, and therefore that power is being given to this system, and resulting in the current back into the supply system, and this reverse direction of the current makes the motor to slow down, and this is called as the regenerative braking. Now we will come to a conclusion for this all this traction system. Whatever discussed about this in today's class, about the traction, about the DC and AC traction, advantages and disadvantages, what are the motors here used, and what is the electrification system being used, and what are the components being used till now, and what are the ratings of the different components also we have seen now. So before coming to the conclusion, we see that here the no single motor is ideal for traction purpose. So we have seen a lot of motors, and we are seeing that the which is ideal and which is non-ideal we cannot not able to decide. But we say that the DC series motor is most suitable for this work, as it is having the high torque at different conditions and low torque at different conditions, and is very flexible. Whereas other motors are also there, but they require heavy machinery and heavy auxiliary equipment, extra equipment to be installed here, and it leads to more power loss also. So conclusion point number one is no single motor is ideal for traction purpose, whereas DC series motor is the most suitable for this particular work, that is traction work. Now, power electronic has been restored in a major way for conversion and control operations. As I already said that the inverters, the rectifiers, and all these electronic devices are being used here for changing the power from one form to the other form, as well as for the stepping down of the voltage. Also, we are using the transformer here. Nothing but the power electronic device in combination of the transformers are doing wonders here to make a traction very easy and affordable. Now we will talk about the different type of braking where discussed, out of which regenerative is most efficient because we are not wasting any power. Whatever the power is being supplied to the motor is again behaving as a generator and giving it back to the supply. Okay, this already you have studied in the power electronics and power semiconductor device in the previous years, and this is one of the very good conclusion and advantage of this is different type of braking were discussed, out of which regenerative is the most efficient one. Now, through electric locomotives are more efficient than the steam and diesel locomotives. As in the first slide, I have told you that the steam and the diesel locomotives were used first, and later with the invention of the electric traction, electric traction is very much used now, and we can see how this is being changed and how it is being saving the coal and all the sources, natural sources, and by through which the electric locomotives are treated to be more efficient than other type of locomotives, that is steam and diesel locomotives. So students, I will like to end my class here, and we will be we will be discussing about the different topics about the traction, very interesting topics in the next session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.